Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green, and you're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. The United States of America has been hijacked by criminals on Wall Street and in Washington, D.C. And nobody knows this better than CNBC pundit Rick Santelli, who I've been following for a number of years now, who went on an epic rant and tirade on CNBC yesterday, having to educate the retards among the CNBC cheerleaders that trillions of dollars worth of bailouts, funny money, and quantitative easing to infinity that has now created even more violent asset bubbles in our stock market and in real estate and in the U.S. bond market isn't a good thing, isn't a viable solution long term. It absolutely gives you short-term profits. It allows the same criminals that collapse the system to make even more money, more funny money, but it isn't a long-term solution. Talk to the unemployed on the streets in America today, the millions of people that can't get a real job. Talk to just most Americans with retirement accounts, savings, IRAs, Roths, traditional IRAs, pensions. Talk to those people. And you'll see very quickly, as I'm sure all of you already recognize, how much the American people have suffered at the behest of these criminals on Wall Street. You know, even Janet Yellen, chair whore of the Federal Reserve, I can tell is getting very worried, probably losing some sleep at night. You know, making statements about valuation, that the market is getting ahead of itself, that small caps are getting ahead of themselves with the Dow Jones at a record all-time high, 17K and growing. They realize they can't contain this inflation bubble, which I argue will soon become hyperinflationary here in the United States of America. She knows she can't keep the lid on the boiling pot of water because Wall Street doesn't care. As long as you keep interest rates at zero and you keep this easy credit pumping into the system, they're going to whore this thing out bigger, badder, and worse than anything that we've ever seen. And the Federal Reserve, since they're backed up into a corner with a gun to their head, pointed at their temple, knows they can't raise rates, knows they can't stop these egregious asset-backed purchases of mortgage bonds and whatever other crap they sell to the American people, know that they have zero options left. So they're not going to raise rates, as Janet Yellen says, they're just going to keep on easing well into the future. I mean, it's already been 6 years, we're hitting record all-time highs. Janet Yellen, I think, is losing sleep. They're worried about even bigger asset bubbles, which is what we have today, but they're not going to do a darn thing about it. They're going to continue to let this bubble rise. In fact, I fear it's going to get so out of control that it literally might be the end of the world. We all might be looking around at each other, half of us unemployed, half of us without a future because of these scumbags, because of these criminals. And it's exactly what CNBC pundit is trying to educate these retards on the CNBC roundtable, who think it's a good thing as they check in their cars to their valet and decide between Bentley or Rolls-Royce. Record sales in these types of cars, by the way, that cost $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, upwards to $500,000. Those are the problems of the elitists, while the real people in America suffer. Again, these bank bailouts never had anything to do with the people. It was never meant to save the economy or create real GDP growth. As we've just seen in the recent print, the real print, that the economy actually contracted last quarter. That's how bad things actually are. We're contracting in the real economy. Most people, most teens don't have work, while these scumbags argue it's a good thing to extort our children's future into infinity. These people are criminals. And the only way we're ever going to get change, the only way the American people can ever really make a difference and to change things for the better, is to stand up for their children, is to actually get into the streets and do something positive. You know, these scumbags will continue to rape you into infinity if you allow them. They will continue to blow the largest bubbles in the history of the world until this great country burns to the ground and becomes the next Rome that has fallen from grace, which is exactly where we are today. We need to organize, my friends. We need to grow our ranks. You are the tipping point, my friends. You are the critical mass that we need. And we can do it without firing a single shot. It's all about ideas, my friends. It's all about philosophy. It's all about peaceful revolution. Look to the greats like Martin Luther King Jr. Look to Gandhi. Look to Jesus Christ himself. All of these men accomplished great change. Not the change that these abominates or this worthless president promised falsely to the American people. It's time to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere. Make it viral. Hard hitting it in your face. And click the link below to support our sponsor.